Welcome back. This is Pairs Well Knitting. I'm Jennifer, and this is a knitting podcast all about knitting, yarny adventures, and travel. Thank you very much for joining me today. So excited that you're here. Today we are talking about cardigans. This is a pattern curation of very beginner-friendly stockinette cardigans that you can make as a beginner or kind of chill out and make as an experienced knitter. I also have a giveaway where we are announcing the winners today. Get comfy, get cozy, and we will bounce right in. And just before we get into sharing all of the beautiful cardigan patterns that I've curated for beginner-friendly cardigans, we are going to thank today's sponsor. We are thanking very much Unravelled. They have so graciously sent me a whole knitting kit for the Bubble Bomber jacket, a very simple top-down construction jacket in stockinette stitch that has just been a delight to work up. Of course, I'm going to be sharing details in my upcoming video, but with the kit comes everything that you need without thinking as an experienced knitter or brand new knitter. Very accessible. It comes with the amount of balls that you require for your size of the Bubble Bomber jacket. This is in their yarn option of Cozy in the colorway Flamingo. This is a combination of alpaca and Pima cotton in a bulky weight. So it just makes knitting a breeze and super quick to do. I'll just show you a little sneak peek of where I'm at with my Bubble Bomber jacket. We have finished the body and it's just been a super fun knit. Of course, the color has called to me so much that I'm knitting this as I'm out. I don't have to think about it too much because it's a super simple construction. It's been a delight. The kit comes with needles. It comes with all the accessories that you need. So if you are a beginner, this is super perfect for someone that doesn't really know all of the options that you might need to purchase. All in one-stop shop. They of course sell patterns and yarns separately as well. So if you're interested, Unravelled has provided a collaborative link between myself and Unravelled, where if you click on it and make a purchase, you get 10% off of your order, which is fantastic. And I get a little bit of a thank you from them. So click on the link below in the show notes and you can check out the Unravelled options yourself. Thank you to Unravelled. We are now going to get into the top 12 knitting, top-down, beginner-friendly cardigan patterns that I've curated from over in Ravelry. If you are an absolute beginner to knitting, these are wonderful and super perfect for someone like you that's just beginning on your knitting adventure. If you've never knit a cardigan before, these are absolutely perfect. If you are an experienced knitter but want some kind of chill out knit with no charts, no extra thinking, and simple construction in the summer where you're just enjoying at the lake, at a beach, outside, these are perfect. So we will bounce in. I'm going to share that the information that I'm going to describe about each pattern along with an image, I'm going to try to be as consistent as I can. So I'm going to include the construction. I'm going to also include the gauge, but not the needle size, because I feel like that's quite arbitrary. If you've been here for a bit, you understand, and you can check out Ravelry if that's helpful, but gauge is very particular to the person. So I'll share that. And then also if there's additional help or simple instruction or video that can assist as well for a beginner knitter. We're going to talk about sizing, if it's size inclusive, and any mods that when I'm looking at the pattern or have that I can think of that would be a beautiful little feature to add into or change on the pattern. All right, let's get in. We're going to wear our age appropriate glasses as we go through. We're going to start with the Novice Cardigan Chunky Edition. This is by Petite Knit. Of course, if you're a knitter, you've heard of Petite Knit. This is the most famous, most popular knitwear designer in the world. and is just, you know, taking knitting world by storm continually, this is definitely a great cardigan to start with for sure. So I'll tell you why I've chosen this, and we'll get into some of the details. I've chosen this because the construction, super simple. We're looking at top down. When we're talking about top down, I'll just go into some details here so that we understand as we move on. It means that the neckline is started, you cast on at the neckline and you knit down to the bottom of the torso or your waist as you go. This I chose for a few reasons, this kind of construction, which I think all of today's cardigans are done in this method of construction. This allows you to yarn manage. If you're being a little careful with yarn and you're not sure if you're going to have enough, this allows you to construct a body that you can kind of play as you go and modify when you need. This also allows you to try on your cardigan throughout. So if you have to do any mods or want to, you can. That can include the circumference of the arm and of course the length of the torso or the body. Top down construction as well, I find for me, is just more visually pleasing as you go. The aesthetic, you're seeing, you're getting what the visual would be like instead of bottom up, if that makes sense. So we're going to talk about now the gauge. This is a bulky weight gauge for this particular sweater. So we're looking at 14 stitches and 21 rows per 10 by 10 centimeters or 4 by 4 inches. Basically what that means is that you're going to be knitting up your cardigan in a much quicker time span as you would a smaller gauge. So you're just going to see a lot more progress in the same amount of time and the same amount of work you would do then with a thinner or lighter weight yarn. The nice thing is with the bulky weight edition, because the gauge is so high, you can go into the yarn shop and look at the ball band and literally pick a yarn that says 14 stitches for that, you know, that swatch or the gauge count. Additionally, if you're feeling a little more spicy and you want to give it a play, you can combine yarns to get that gauge count as well. Up to you. I would say if you're a super beginner, just go with a bulky weight yarn. I'm not sharing the needle sizes again because every knitter is different. So someone might need a, say, US 10 or a 6.0 millimeter needle to get the gauge. Someone also, another looser knitter like myself, for example, might need like a US, 8 or 5 millimeter needle to get that gauge, if that makes sense. So the Novice Cardigan, I've chosen this as well because the increases on the yoke that happen after the neck band are distributed throughout the yoke evenly, of course, because it's well planned out and well designed. You don't have to worry about setting up, raglan markers, saddle construction. This is just very much easier to do with a specific flow that's going to be happening. I don't want to miss anything. The sizing on this is an extra small to 5XL. So what does that mean? That is a 96 centimeter to 163 centimeter circumference of bust. And if you're looking at inches, you're looking at 37 3/4 to 64 1/4 inch bust. In my opinion, that's fairly size inclusive, so we've done okay here. What I would say the most challenging thing by looking at this, but I haven't knit it, would be the button band. The button band looks like it's picked up after you've knit the entire garment, the entire cardigan, so that possibly could be the most challenging thing along with the button holes that you're doing. However, I will include the petite knit is fabulous and not only written instruction, allowing more detail, but simplified detail to help you and hold your hand. They also prepare videos that you can watch that are coupled with the instructions, where that really allows for you to see what's going on. So you can do that as well as watch. You're doing it with your hands at the same time. So that's a Novice Cardigan Chunky Edition by Petite Knit. My next just clicking down here. My next cardigan option for beginner-friendly knitters is the Carlisle Cardigan by Tara Lynn Morrison. This is a designer that right away, even before I started knitting, was recommended to me to start my path of knitting. Ironically, I've never actually knit anything of hers, but I have had this cardigan in my queue for a very long time. She also goes by Goodnight Day. And she makes just beautiful, very simple knitting patterns. Most are bulky. This particular cardigan is super bulky. So the gauge count on this is 3.5 stitches and 5 rows per 5 centimeters. If we want to compare it with the 10 by 10, we're looking at, 7 stitches per 10 by 10 centimeters or 4 by 4 inches. So quite a bit bulkier than the last, the Novice Cardigan we just looked at. I picked this as well. Yes, Canadian designer, so that's exciting. But it is a cardigan with some interest. It's got a garter stitch that's happening in the very top of the yoke, and then it changes to stockinette, so where you're creating more of a flat stitch, very simple to be done, and then goes back to garter with ribbing. It looks like it could be more complicated to a non-knitter eye, but if you do know knitting a bit and can follow simple instruction of knitting knits, purling purls, this will be totally accessible for you even as a brand new knitter. This is a top-down pattern, so again, we're looking at the neckline down, picking up sleeves as we go. This, of course, because it's a cardigan, all of these are knit flat, so which means that you're loading your stitches onto one needle and you're tossing your work around to the wrong side and knitting that following the instructions. I'm just looking here, what else am I missing? This cardigan cardigan pattern has short rows. This could be the more challenging piece of this particular knit. However, I think you'll be okay. There are tons of videos that can help you out with German short rows. If you were terrified of a German short row, and what does that mean? Basically, it's lifting up the back of the neckline so that your sweater sits nicer on the body, because we're not super even on the front and the back. You can omit them. You do not have to add in the German short rows. It will just give you a better fit. But I have sweaters as well that I've knit even as more experienced knitter that don't have short rows, and it's fine. We're fine. What I want to say about this, I want to share the sizing. This isn't super size inclusive. So she has a small, medium option and a large, extra large option. There is no call out that I can see about ease, but it looks like because it's so bulky and so open, it's an open air cardigan with no closure. There's no buttons. There's no finishes on it that way. I think it's very inclusive, even if there are only 2 options of sizes. And also, if you have a smidge of experience, you can always keep adding on to the length or the width if needed. Yep, it's super cute, no button band needed. So that's also why I chose this pattern. Did I miss anything? I think we're okay. So yep, that's the Carlisle Cardigan by Tara Lynn Morris. My next cardigan option is the Rotad Cardigan by Anna Sosvald Knitwear. Beautiful design. I think it does look easy enough that a beginner could do it, but I think with the details that she has in this particular cardigan could really be alluring for the experienced knitter as well. This is in a smaller gauge than what we've been seeing. She lists this as a DK weight. However, the gauge is listed as an 18 stitch gauge count, 24 centimeters for a 10 by 10 centimeter swatch or 4 by 4 inches. To me, I feel that sounds more worsted, but you be the judge on that. We are looking at top down, I believe. Yes, there are short rows that are included. Again, you don't have to put those in, but if the pattern knitwear designer has included the pattern, you will get a different look than what you're seeing if you omit those German short rows, if that makes sense. We also have the addition of a button band that's going on in this sweater. I've also chosen this sweater because the fit is very much form-fitting, more so than what we've seen. So I feel like it's a really beautiful cardigan for something that I don't think would be a lot of additional thinking. This looks like it's a raglan construction, which means you're increasing outside of the raglan lines that happen, yes, I'm just trying to see the pictures, right here from the neckline down to the armpit. So that would be somewhat more, I wouldn't say advanced, I would say adventurous beginner, because my very first sweater I did have raglan stitches. I did find it a little more challenging, but if you have the patience, this could be a great option for you. The sizing on this is a 1 through 9, so there's 9 sizes. Bust circumference is an 85 centimeter to 147 centimeter bust line, or 34 to 59 inches. Quite a range. And she's recommending an ease amount, which is nice. That's the first we've seen of these beginner patterns. So she's recommending a 5 centimeter negative ease to be worn. I think that's why we get such that beautiful fit going on. She's also included the hemline to be quite cropped, which I think is super flattering with how this particular person wears her sweaters and her cardigans, because it meets that high waistline of different pants and skirts and dresses. So this could be a really nice bouncing off point for an adventurous beginner, or for the experienced knitter in general. That's the Rotad Cardigan. My next option is called the Cardi de Coeur. So it's like a cardigan of the heart, or the heart cardigan. This is by I'm reading it wrong. Les Filles de Coeur, which is Lily Schwarzkopf. This is a beautiful sweater that looks so easy to knit up. We are looking at bulky, I would say extra bulky gauge. The way it's written on Ravelry sometimes can be quite confusing, but we are looking at a 10 stitch gauge count for 14 rows for 10 by 10 centimeter swatch, or 4 by 4 inches. It comes in, it looks like 2 sizes. She's got an extra small option and the medium large option. So not super size inclusive, but I think because it is such an oversized garment with very little, what's the word? It's so boxy and big that I think it depends on kind of how much ease you'd want, side of the coin you want, of how much ease that you're looking for, because it's just a super open, airy cardigan. There's no button closure, so the finishes look super minimal. No button band. This is knit top down. Looking at the pictures, we see it could be an I-cord edge for the cuff. So that could be possibly the more, advanced beginner option for bind off, rather than, a 1x1 ribbing. But looks super simple to do. What is she saying about this? This is not English. Is there any English on it? Not in the written, but obviously the pattern comes in English and German. So could you add on to make it more interesting if this is where you were? Of course you could. You could do an I-cord edge all around in place of button bands. You could pick up and do an I-cord edge. That could be cool. Do you need to? I don't think so. This is a really simple throw-on cardigan that I think could get you through those beautiful summery nights in a really light, like bulky, but light with say mohair options. Cardigan through the summer evenings or into late summer. It's a really beautiful cardigan. She's calling it a jacket. And again, that's the Cardi de Coeur. All right, my next option for cardigans is the Easy Peasy Chunky Cardigan. You'll see some similar notes with this, because this is where my brain then was going into Ravelry. So this is a knit pattern by Catherine Hannibal at Onling. So this is looking like also super bulky, very comparable gauge count, 10 stitches per inch, 10 stitches and 14 rows per 10 by 10 centimeter square, or 4 by 4 inches. So will be knit up super quickly. I would also classify this as a jacket. By the looks of things, there is no particular closure on this nor button band, so it looks like it's just finished as you knit it. Looking at the construction, I believe it looks like it's raglan. No, what are we looking at here? Is it? I think it is raglan. Does it say? Available in English and Danish. She's describing the easy peasy chunky cardigan as a cozy, light, simple, and lovely cardigan, which I super agree. This is a raglan style construction. I believe we are knit. Yes, we are, top down, and looks super simple to knit. No extra bells and whistles. I'm trying to see if it's got short rows in it. It doesn't say. You could probably add them in if you wanted to, if you were more experienced, but clearly I don't think the picture even has short rows just by the way it might be sitting. So you can check that out. That's the easy peasy chunky cardigan. The next option I have is by my favorite things knitwear. This is cardigan number 2. This offers some more interest, I thought, similar to the Tara Lynn Morris cardigan that I showed. This is, I'll go in order. So the gauge on this is a 9 stitch and 13 row centimeters, 10 centimeters swatch or 4 by 4 inches. So we're looking at super bulky. It looks like, yes, this is even though it's a very heavy gauge per se, she has created this in light looking yarn. So we're looking at, I think it's mohair or mohair combinations. Yes. Oh, and this is also why she's used the Pelsullgarn Bostrat alpaca, which is like a brushed alpaca. So you get a lot of bang for your buck almost with that, where it's like very fluffy and light, but is quite bulky when it's knit up. The cardigan is knit top down, of course, seamless, of course, but flat. It looks like a different array of knits and purls that are happening after the neckline to give you this ray of interest and texture as you're going down on the yoke. And then it looks like, I'm trying to see, does she have it written up about that little band? No. Oh, the yoke's pattern is knit with a modified brioche stitch. So I think, even though I've put this into the beginner category because it's a beginner brioche, it looks like in the yoke only, if I'm not mistaken, and stockinette in the body. This could be a nice dive if you're willing to get into brioche to start, because it's not the full sweater. That being said, I'm questioning my category placement of beginner knit friendly. On paper, when I was looking on my soft copy, this looked very accessible. Now that I've read its brioche, I would say beginner friendly, not so much. So sorry, buyer beware. And I would say if you're experienced, this might be for you. If you have no idea what brioche is, you can check it out. But I think if you're more experienced, this might be for you. The size inclusivity isn't grand. We are looking at extra small to a large. She's got 3 size options, it looks, with an extra small being 1 size, small medium being 1, and medium large being 1. But it's got quite a bit of ease as well. Anyway, so that might have been a boo-boo from me to include as the beginner friendly pattern. But pressing on, I promise we have some more accessible beginner options. So into the section now of beginner-friendly stockinette stitch cardigans. This would be for more advanced beginner, more patient beginner to experienced knitter. These would require more minds-on. The construction is a little more complicated than what we've already seen for those very beginner, very novice options. My first option I have spoke about before. I've made the pullover version. It's the Felix Cardigan by Amy Christoffers. This is a beautiful, I would call classic twist of a cardigan on top down. The construction of it remains exactly as we've seen before from other raglan constructions in that you are increasing on specific rows. However, instead of doing like a make one left, make one right to get your increases, you're doing yarn overs to get increases in very specific locations. If you're a complete beginner, this is doable, but you do have to be mindful of where those yarn overs are going and that you're tracking properly with your markers. But you can do it. You can definitely try. I know I made a Felix pullover as one of my beginning sweaters, and it took me a bit to get started, but once I was there, it's totally fine. This is in an Aran weight yarn. You're looking at 14 stitches or and 20 rows for a 10 by 10 centimeter square or 4 by 4 inches. And this is it. It's a crop top down raglan sweater. The eyelet motif, like I've said, is shared for the raglan increases. And it's just beautiful. Super simple construction still, but has enough detail to add an element of fun. We also have a button band feature that is added on. It looks like after just slightly, I would say outside the beginner range into slightly advanced beginner, only because you're having to track where those eyelet stitches go to get the exact beautiful little, like, you know, triangular pattern as you go. Beautiful, beautiful sweater option. That's the Felix Cardigan. My next option of slightly more beginner advanced is, I've got two of these. I'll add these on. We're looking at the chunky Mouline cardigan by Knit or Leanne Home Samso. This is a beautiful cardigan option. We are looking at a 18 stitch gauge count. She's calling it a DK. Again, I feel 18 stitches. Is that not worsted? So 18 stitches, 25 rows per 10 by 10 centimeters or 4 by 4 inches. Size inclusivity on this is an extra small to 4XL in a variety of languages, and is, I think, one of the more, you know, complicated cardigans that we have yet to date in this roundup, but is such a beautiful design. So she describes the construction as working top down. You're starting at the back section and then you are working the top of the front section. So you're probably picking up at the shoulder line. Yes, that's exactly what she says. And the top of the sleeves. From this point, the sleeves back and forth are worked until the underarm. The button sleeves are worked separately. At last, you pick up for the button band along the front and V neckline. The button band is knit to the cardigan at the same time as the button band is worked. Oh, sorry, the button band is knitted to the cardigan at the same time as the button band is worked. So this actually, because I've knit the Champagne cardigan by Petite Knit, and you have to pick up and then have the button band on after, this is a nice option that you're doing it all at the same time. Those pattern instructions hopefully are sound enough that this allows you to understand what you're doing. I would say be patient with this. I would say if you haven't knit a cardigan before, this may not be the most friendly of option for you, but is such a beautiful finished object. That's a chunky Mouline cardigan. As we move on with designs that are somewhat similar like this, let's look at the Lakes cardigan. This is by Ozetta. Somewhat similar construction we're looking at. Let's talk about the gauge. We're looking at an Aran or 16 stitch and 24 row gauge count for 10 by 10 centimeters, 4 by 4 inches. The sizing on this is fairly inclusive with double extra small to 5XL in the end. We are knitting flat. We have some short rows going on. We are top down. We have a button band. So there's a lot more bells and whistles with this cardigan. The Lakes cardigans work top down. The saddle shoulders provide an oversized fit while contributing a structural touch to the cardigan. It features a timeless shallow V-neck, making a versatile wardrobe essential for any occasion. So this this construction of a saddle shoulder is essentially a little piece of fabric that is knit here to give you a really, I think it's a beautiful little feature. This one's almost a drop saddle shoulder because it's continuing past the shoulder line onto the arm, and then the fabric is worked. It's a beautiful construction. I was very scared of this kind of construction before because someone told me it was quite complicated to make, which sounds ridiculous. It is no more simple or harder than raglan. A raglan sweater. You're increasing outside of the saddle shoulder area. Is it doable as a confident beginner? It is. You do have a button band that seems to be picked up after, and that could be the challenge, of course. I think the button bands, for me, I think are more complicated than no button band, but you be the judge. It's a beautiful sweater, and I think one that you'd be very happy and satisfied about making. That is the Felix Cardigan by Rotad. My next two cardigan options, I just don't want to miss anything, are somewhat similar construction between the two I'm going to share. The first is the Rebel Cardigan by Anne Strick. This is almost what I would call like a shawl type sweater or cardigan, where it doesn't have a button band closure, but has a really chunky, I'll say, chunky neckline or shawl collar around. It's beautiful. This is in worsted weight. So we're looking at a 19 stitch gauge count, 28 rows to get 10 by 10 centimeters or 4 by 4 inches. Size inclusivity, we're looking at 1 to size 9. English and German pattern options are available. The pattern comes with a long and short version, which is really nice because you might want a crop short version to go with sweaters, high-waisted pants, that kind of thing, or a super long, cozy option for winter. The Rebel Cardigan is worked seamlessly from the top down. You start working the collars separately, which is really beautiful. And then the back stitches are picked up at the collar. The upper back is then shaped with increases. Stitches are then picked up from each side of the back to work the shoulders. All pieces are joined to work the yoke with increases for the body and sleeves down to sleeve separation. The sleeve stitches are then placed on hold. There's a lot of detail here that I don't think is necessary, but we're sharing. And then the underarms are cast on. This is a traditional, like, pick up the stitches for knitting a sleeve. After the body's completed, the sleeve stitches are worked down, top down in the round. And beside weaving the ends, there's no finishing addition requirements because you have already knit your band or your shawl collar. It's beautiful, I would say, because of the gauge count and the lack of button band per se. This could be an accessible beginner pattern. Yeah, it's really lovely. I think it could be a beautiful addition to your wardrobe. Again, you feel really proud of this being done. That's a Rebel Cardigan. A similar option to this is a design by Isabel Kramer. This is the Kalias cardigan. I'm adding the word cardigan. She calls it just the Kalias. And it looks like a similar kind of like shawl collar construction, no button band needed, which is great. This is also Aran stitches. Stitch count's different at 18 stitches or 28 rows for a 10 by 10 centimeter swatch or 4 by 4 inches. We have 9 size options available. She talks about the construction. Knitting starts with the back part of the neck band, similar to what we just saw with the other shawl design or shawl collar design. Stitches are then picked up from the long edge of the neck band to work the back part of the yoke first. Increases along the slanted shoulder seam are worked on both wrong and right sides. Once the final back width is reached, the back is worked back and forth in slip stitch ribbing to the underarm. So that's where you're getting that different motif down the shawl collar that bleeds down into the torso. It's really lovely, really doable, and I mean, I don't think it adds a lot of challenge to it. She's got that on the back as well, and it's really just a nice design. I want to see if I'm missing anything. No, I think that's it. I think it looks doable for a beginner, adds additional interest if you are an experienced knitter, and yeah, is lovely. That's the Kalias by Isabel Kramer. Am I missing any Oh, I'm missing one cardigan. I almost missed this one. My 12th and last cardigan option is the Ramona Cardigan by Elizabeth Smith. This is a beautiful cardigan knit in Aran, so it's a 15 stitch gauge count per 10 centimeters or 4 by 4 inches. Sizing on this, she's got how many options? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, or is it 12 size options? Super inclusive. So she has, these are inches she's given, so a 33.25, well, quarter inch bust to a 64-inch bust. So very size inclusive, might be the most size inclusive cardigan we've seen yet. We are looking at top-down construction. She describes the Ramona Cardigan as a top-down raglan construction. So again, you're working the raglan stitches with increases on the sides of the raglan stitches, a crew neck, and a slight waist shaping. Features a fake seam along the sides, giving the appearance of a seam. Ooh, that's interesting, but you're not actually seaming. I wonder if it's a slip stitch that's added. Oh no, I don't know how she's done it. That's cool. Yes, oh, it's different. It's almost like an alternating knit purl maybe that she's done to add that. If you wanted to modify and not put in the fake seam, obviously you don't have to. You could just keep knitting flat to follow your stockinette stitch. She has a button band that's been added on after, so that would add an element of more advanced beginner, I would say. The fit looks a lot more fitted than other boxy options we've seen, so really beautiful silhouettes created from this type of pattern. I'm just looking. She does call out, it's a great project for beginner knitter. More advanced knitters will also enjoy the pattern as a relaxing knit. That's true, and I think that's all of the second half today that I've shared with you for the stockinette cardigans. These are, I'd say, advanced beginner friendly, but definitely allow experienced knitters to fully enjoy that process as well. That's the Ramona Cardigan by Elizabeth Smith. All right, and I think those are my 12. Yes, those are my 12 cardigans for beginner knit, or maybe advanced beginner knit friendly pattern options. I hope you enjoyed the pattern curation, but we are not done. We still have a winner to announce for our prize of giveaway. This giveaway was so generously provided by Mouline Yarns. This is a maker and hand dyer from Quebec. I met the maker in Montreal at the Knit City event. She had a beautiful booth and beautiful hand-dyed options. This particular yarn was given to the podcast to give away, not for me, for keeps, so you get this as the viewers. It is a 70% organic merino and 30% linen called Mouline. Is that, yes, I'm just making sure. The colorway is Raindrops on Roses. It couldn't be more stunning. It's an absolute perfect yarn for today with the weather that we have. I'm also providing in the giveaway, as mentioned, beautiful little buttons that were made by a colleague and friend of mine in her pottery class. And there's many, I'll send like probably 5 within the package and wrap them up carefully to our winner today. So if you commented, thank you very much on that episode. We are now going to run the draw. So let's get comfy, and I've got everything set up here on my winner picker option randomized generator. I feel so supported when you comment, when you like, when you subscribe, so thank you very much. We are going to record this and start the draw. So we are going through many of the comments, and it has chosen a winner. It is the J. Stinson 437 viewer. That's J Stinson 437 viewer. She's commented, "Oh, that pink wool is such a pretty color and such a wonderful name for it. And those buttons, love, 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 all caps." Thank you so much to J Stinson 437. I would ask that you email me. It pairs well with knitting@gmail.com. I'll list that in the show notes. You can check it out and claim your prize, and I will send that off to you wherever you may be. I hope you enjoyed today's curation of beginner, and I'll be careful to say, but also advanced beginner cardigan patterns for you. It's always a joy for me to go through and pattern select based on certain criteria. Thank you very much for being here today. If you liked this episode, I very much invite you to like and subscribe to the channel. Of course, all of the information will be shared in the show notes, along with some additional options that you can choose to do to support me as well. I have my own patterns available that are linked below. If you are feeling like you support the channel in other ways, there's a Woolly Thistle affiliate link. There's the Unravelled affiliate link, so you can check that out there. I also have my Ko-Fi link that you can donate a coffee to myself. Thank you very much for being here today. I wish you great joy in your knitting, be it cardigan knitting or beyond. And until next time, take care.